动作要缓慢圆，双手随着气机而行。打手印的要求是小臂带动大臂，外柔内刚，两手拉开，把功能打出体外。
Hi, I'm Adhiraj, and I was born in Calcutta in the year 1983. When I was born in Calcutta, we used to stay in a joint family, and I remember in my childhood days, me and my brother used to play together in the front courtyard of our house, and he used to teach me how to play football, and I used to be the goalie over there. And then as we kept growing up, we moved from our joint family to an isolated house, and we were doing our regular schooling. And when I was around 21, I moved to Bombay because I wanted to do something different with my career. And very soon after graduating in mass media, I pursued modeling. My mother wanted me to be a model, and I started modeling. I remember I had gone for Mr. India contest back in 2007, and that's how I entered modeling, and I was signed on with an agency, and I was modeling, and everything was going very, very good, and I had opportunities of traveling outside the country as well. In 2013, when I was on a trip to China for modeling work, I met with a very severe accident, and I had severe poisoning of the blood, and by the time I was taken to the hospital, they called my family in Calcutta, and they said that I am no more. And I remember when I was in the hospital bed, I saw that I was floating. I could feel that I am not in this world anymore, and that was the near-death experience which I had. And when I was floating and going away into a very serene place, something from within called out and said that no, your purpose in life is not over, and you are here for a greater purpose. And I remember coming back to my senses and seeing the ICU and my family, everyone was around me. The very first thing I realized after coming back to my senses is that we are not here in this world just to make money and fame and personal gains. That's not the reason why we are here. That is what I understood immediately. And since I came out of the hospital, I started seeking what is the purpose of life, what am I here for. And exactly a year later, I met my friend Mark in the agency where I was modeling, and he told me that he was practicing a meditation called Falun Gong. And that's when he introduced me to the practice Falun Gong, which follows 3 basic principles of truthfulness, compassion and tolerance. I remember the first session of meditation when I did the exercises, 5 sets of exercises. After doing the exercises, I realized that no, this is the purpose of life, and that's it. From then it was no looking back. I started doing the exercises regularly, and I started reading Master Li Hongzhi's book, Zhuan Falun, and I started understanding a lot of things, and that's how everything started changing. The way I perceived things earlier, I no longer perceive them the same way, and now whenever I meet with day-to-day situations, I try to look within. If there is something which is blocking me from achieving something or doing something, I try to look within. Even in times of conflicts with others, I always try to look within and try to put others before me. I started photography in the year 2015, and yes, Falun Dafa has had a great influence in my photography, because whenever I do my job also, I try to do it the best possible, and I try to keep in mind truthfulness, compassion and tolerance, and that has I try to do my work with an upright thought, because what I understand is that whenever we are doing any job, we should our thoughts and our actions should be righteous, and hence the practice has a lot of influence in my photography work. And whatever work I do in my day-to-day life, I have to keep in mind these principles, and I try to do it the best possible. There are a lot of benefits which I faced when I started cultivation. Before I started practicing, I used to be very angry and I used to lose my temper very frequently. And then when I started practicing Falun Dafa, I started understanding what the principles are behind the practice, and I started applying it to my day-to-day life. And I slowly started understanding why we are faced with conflicts, and in times of conflicts how we should look within and stay calm and try to reflect on what we are doing, not look at others, and try to hold responsible for our own actions. And when I understood these reasons, I started to be much more calmer than what I was before. Also, health wise, it improved a lot. Earlier, before I started practicing, I used to frequently fall ill. I used to run to the doctor every now and then and take pills. But after starting practice, I have been very well. I hardly went to the doctors, and doing the exercises keeps me very fit and energetic. After I started doing the practice for a while, I got to know about the ongoing persecution of Falun Dafa in China, and it almost came across as a shock to me, because the amount of benefit me and like lot of my friends and people who I know that are practicing this gentle practice, it is really shocking that the China is persecuting such a truthful and such a good practice. I understand that if there has to be a general change in the society, then there must be people who are following an upright path and an upright practice, and Falun Gong exactly does that. When I came to know about the persecution, I read more about it, and I came to know about the forced organ harvesting which is happening in China, and it is really a heinous crime which is happening in this modern day and age. And I sincerely request people to look up more about it and read and try to let other people know. Even in my when I'm free or when I go to shoots, I always try to let people know, make people aware about the ongoing persecution of Falun Gong in China.